name is Cheryl Matthews, and I am the Title I Parent Engagement Specialist for Henry County Schools. I'm here to share with you tips and strategies to ensure a successful parent and family engagement monitoring visit. The goals of my presentation are to share Henry County Schools' process for preparing for cross-functional monitoring in the area of parent and family engagement. I will also provide samples of timelines, compliance checklists, and monitoring checklists that we use in Henry County during our FY18 preparation for cross-functional monitoring. Last but not least, I will share firsthand tips and advice from our district level personnel who participated in Henry County Schools cross-functional monitoring. So let's start. Henry County Schools is located 20 miles south of Hartsfield-Jackson Airport. We're the 8th largest school district with 52 Title I schools. During monitoring, we had 25 Title I schools, which included 17 elementary, 6 middle school, and 2 high schools. But on the school level, each of our Title I schools has a full-time Title I parent involvement professional. On the district level, there's just one specialist, me, who oversees the work of these 25 schools. We were on the 4-year cycle, so we were monitored in 2014, and we will be monitored again in 2022. Our monitoring took place in January 25th to be exact. We had 5 schools that were selected, and we were on the on-site monitoring cycle. So our Godot monitor spent a day in our district monitoring our files. Just know that the tips and strategies that you will hear are suggestions only. Although they are successful for our district, we recommend that you implement practices which best fits your district. So for us, planning for FY18 actually began in 2016. We split up preparation for FY18 monitoring over 3 years or 3 phases. The first phase was recreating or revising the playbook. Then we had a scrimmage phase. And then finally, the last phase was the big game. But if you don't have as much time, the majority of these tips and strategies can be implemented in less time. So if you have at least 2 or more years before monitoring, we're going to call that the creating and revising the playbook phase. First of all, you need to know your team's strengths and weaknesses. If you have access, take a look at your last cross-functional monitoring report. If there are any issues, learn what they were so you can avoid them this year. But remember, since we're no longer under ESA, focus on processes and practices instead of specific indicators. Be sure to conduct quarterly site visits to your schools. Utilize a data collection instrument to identify strengths and weaknesses so that you know what support you can offer your schools. So here are some samples of our data collection instruments that we provided. The first one is a full day support visit. And this is something that I used when I went to visit my schools. And it provides information for me to assess the school's strengths and weaknesses in certain areas, such as the school webpage, the Parent Resource Center, and the actual parent involvement professional. Then it goes on to look at evidence of building level capacity. Any type of compliance documentation checklist such as this can help you know where your schools fall. Here's another one that was conducted in the spring to see, okay, what have you done this school year and what was successful? What did you have challenges on? Make sure that you know ESA. Familiarize yourself with the ESA requirements, including the new notice and support for EL parents. That's a different indicator that is monitored, but for many, it's your responsibility if you're the parent and family engagement program coordinator, unless you work close with your Title III person, but that requirement is now under Title I. Stop schools from focusing solely on checking off a list, but ensure that they also understand how parent and family engagement is a major component of their school's Title I program. Use this as an opportunity to introduce new initiatives if you have at least 2 or more years so that they can get used to using document retrieval platforms such as Title I Crate, OneDrive, or Google Drive, which are free, by the way. Remember that the monitoring window is a full year, so you can monitor your documents up to a full year, because that's exactly what your monitor will do. If you're monitored in January, they can go all the way back to the previous January. One of the program initiatives that we implemented 2 years ago was OneDrive. If you're not familiar with OneDrive, OneDrive is a document submission or document storage platform, such as Title I Crate, but OneDrive is free. Schools are able to store their various documentation from year to year in OneDrive. It's also used to house training documentation and share information amongst our schools. And in the event of staff turnover, all of the documentation from a school is already there. So let's look at OneDrive. So here are our files for OneDrive, and we'll go all the way back. So as you can see, I've implemented OneDrive in FY17 as well as FY18. So I'm going to click FY18. And as you can see, here are all of my Title I schools for FY18. And we'll open one up. And from there, you'll see FY18 school level parent and family engagement documents and all of the documentation that we needed for monitoring, as well as just the parent and family engagement program are here. You don't see indicators, you see program requirements. So if I open up an annual Title I meeting, I see agenda, I see meeting documents, everything that I need. If I need to go to this school's agenda, I can click on agenda and it's right there. Another tip, make sure you establish effective support for school personnel. Design a support program that is ongoing for all of your schools. Never assume that staff or school level staff completely understand parent and family engagement compliance requirements and are carrying out those requirements correctly. Include principals in your trainings, especially building staff capacity requirements. Provide a training calendar with deadlines early in the year. I give mine out during pre-planning, so everyone puts all of these training dates and program compliance documentation deadlines on their calendars in the beginning of the year. Determine your plan to train new staff that come in after you've done all your training. So one of the things that I provide is a Parent Involvement Professionals Handbook, and I'm going to turn my video back on so I can show you all the actual handbook. This is our handbook for FY18, and it's a 2-inch binder. It's fairly large. When you train your staff, one of the things that you need to ensure that they understand is all of the compliance documentation, all of the things that they have to do. So here's a sample of an agenda for our summer training, and it provides specific days. We do 2 days, and we give everything that they need for the year as far as the training binder, what their role and responsibility is, all of that we give that first day they come back from the summer. So say you don't have 2 or more years and you only have a full year, you're being monitored in FY20. So we're calling this phase practices and scrimmages. So you would need to conduct individual school compliance visits just to make sure that all of your schools are implementing the program requirements. These visits can be quarterly, focusing on program requirements based on compliance deadlines, where you go once every few months, or you can do one in the fall and one again in the spring, or one in the winter, one again right before monitoring. Use these results to identify problem areas or staff that need additional support or assistance, and share your visit results with your school staff and principal. Use self-monitoring as your mock monitoring visit. Self-monitoring is a great way to help schools experience the real cross-functional monitoring process. So if you've never conducted self-monitoring, this will be a great time to implement it. I would suggest you conduct both a desktop and on-site visit monitoring. Stand firm. If there's no evidence in the school's files, it didn't happen. Then you will go back and share your areas of concerns and recommendations with the school, because this is a learning process. So give them a deadline to make those corrections, or if they aren't able to make the corrections, have them provide you with a plan for improvement for the next year. Here are some of our compliance monitoring checklists. This was used for FY18, and as you can see, it provides, it gives you all of the, it's broken up into all of the sections that we are monitored on. So it's broken up into multiple opportunities for parent input. So for those of you who are familiar with the cross-functional monitoring document, this is the first section. Then it goes into distribution of the school plan and compact. It goes into school parent and family engagement plan, on down to building staff capacity and building parent capacity. Another compliance support visit report is a drop-in with the PIP. We call our professionals parent involvement professionals, or acronym PIP, PIP. And this is another document checklist where I can go through and go through all of their compliance documentation and even let them know if they're actually ready for monitoring. So let's look at this one. So this was conducted right before we had monitoring, after they had submitted all their documentation. So when we were monitored in January, I think I started this in November and December. So I had already provided them a checklist for their parent input documentation. And if they had anything that was missing from that documentation, they had a chance to turn it in to me. Then I would let them know if they were ready, and we would go on down the list. Screenshot of web page. Remember the form that I showed you where you could do the check their school's web page, because a lot of times notifications can be posted on the website. You take a screenshot to show the date that you posted it to make sure it's within compliance, and you can put that in your monitoring files as well.